Hello, this is Ed Burke of PlaceForTraders.com for Wednesday, April 1st. Starting off in the June S&P. In my last video, I talked about the pivot level of 785. We had the convergence of the daily pivot and monthly pivot right at that 785 level. Coincidentally enough, that's right where we settled on Monday's session at 784.30, so right around that range. Now, in Tuesday's session, of course, the market was bullish. We stayed over that 785 level. In fact, the combined session low was 784.20, but that was way early on in Tuesday's session when the market was way before the regular session open. After the regular session opened, we were already piercing through the first level of resistance I had. I had the first level of resistance at 794 for Tuesday. Second line of resistance at 804.5. Now, I had sent out a message around midday that we already pierced through the first level of resistance. I was looking at the second level of resistance, 804.5, as a target. You know, if you're long because the market was bullish, take the profit at 804.5. If you felt a little aggressive, take a short position at 804.5, even though you're going against the trend. But looking at that as resistance. Now, later on in the day, we did go up to 807.5. The market then gave about half of its gains up by the end of the trading session. The market sold off later in the trading session. The market did close up 10.5. settling at 794.80 on Tuesday. So we did go up to that second line of resistance. We came back and settled back down at 794.80. For Wednesday, for tomorrow, I'm looking at the pivot of 796.25. The market needs to stay above 796.25 for a bullish market. Below 796.25, you're looking at a bearish market. I have the first line of support down at 784. The second line of support down at 773. For resistance, I'm looking at the first line of resistance at 807.5 and the second line of resistance at 818.5. Also, a couple other numbers to take note of. The weekly pivot is just above that. We are in a bearish mode on the weekly numbers. The weekly pivot is 809.5. It's just above our daily first line of resistance. So that weekly pivot is 809.5, and of course that monthly pivot is still at 785, which is going to be right near our first line of support. Our first line of support for tomorrow is 784. My personal opinion, although we look at other indicator, overbought or oversold indicators, we look at moving averages. The main crux of this analysis is the pivot numbers, though. But I am looking at the possibility that we did see a near-term top in this market. I have down here the commodity channel index. If we look right back in here, we can see some divergence between the price of the S&P and this indicator down here. We see this top right here and a lower top when we made a higher high in price. So there's some divergence. I'm going to attempt to draw a little trend line. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but it's very flat, pointing lower, when in fact with price we had a trend line that points higher. Now also back in here, when we see when the price came down and made a low right here, this little low here in the commodity channel index is a higher low than this low, this low from Monday's trading session. Now obviously the low from Monday's trading session is not as low as this low right here. So, but we're seeing in the commodity channel index, the commodity channel index is making a lower low. So we see some divergence there. My feeling is that we're in a short-term bearish market. Like I said, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, that we let the pivot numbers dictate actually what course we're going to take. The pivot numbers and the lines of support and resistance. A lot of numbers coming out for tomorrow. At 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time, you have the ADP employment change. The expectation is for a loss of 635,000 jobs. At 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, you have construction spending. The expectation is for a drop of 2%. You have the ISM index number coming out. The expectation is 37 in the ISM. You have pending home sales. The expectation also at 10 o'clock. You have pending home sales coming out with an expectation of a drop of 1%. Then at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, you have for the month of March, you have auto sales. There's no expectation. The prior number for auto sales were 2.9 million units, and also truck sales. The previous reading was 3.5 million units in truck sales. That's all I have for this evening. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't gone to my website as of yet, it's placefortraders.com. I encourage you to go on there and sign up for the free alerts. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and good trade.